Hello, I'm Chris Lapados, Thanasiopoulos. This is Man Free World. Tech support's coming out for that on Tuesday. Is what they told me. I'm going to be doing a response to some new article coming out with our favorite physics, AI, sci-fi believer, and she's going to be talking about the AI predictions for 2040. I think this should be for 2030 because the way timelines are squeezing up. But there's just like, for instance, don't be deluded by the exaggerated claims made for AI. Humans supported by new technologies still have a lot going for them. Is AI an existential threat? Some experts say new warnings are overblown. So I'm gonna play this through and I'm gonna talk about what I think about it.
If only someone could systematically interview experts and figure out what they're worried about. Well, a group of researchers from the UK has done exactly that and just published their results. What they found is not very reassuring. Let's have a look. This new report is based on several rounds of interviews with 12 experts on software development using what's called the Delphi method. The Delphi method is named after the Oracle of Delphi, a position held by a priestess in the Greek city of Delphi around 2,500 years ago. The oracle's task was to supposedly convey messages from the gods about the future. The Delphi method.
Yeah, so ever since this is like one of the Western culture obsessions is with like learning about the future, having oracles, guides, anything that used to, cut up goats and cast stones and sticks and inhale toxic fumes. That was the Oracle Delphi. She was near like a volcanic source that have a lot of like CO2 or some other toxic fume, and they'd be inside this cave and she would get super high on that stuff and blabber on about stuff, and this is the kind of stuff they would use. So yeah, this is one of our downfalls. We have this obsession because we want to hold on to things. We have this obsession of what's in the future, and also because we've been attacked and sacked and raped and taken over and destroyed and rebuilt and all stuff in our history that's just a mess.
Method was invented by the American nonprofit Rand Corporation in the 1950s.
Yeah, so the Delphi thing, I'd heard about this method, but I didn't know what it was. But now I understand why big corporations can do this kind of thing. And it's super interesting to see how this goes. Let's listen.
To make better use of experts' knowledge, it works by conducting in-depth interviews with the experts. The interviews are then transcribed and anonymously shared with the other participants. They add opinions on each other's interviews and further information. Then another round of interviews is done. This process can be repeated several times. The Delphi method has become a common way for companies and committees to leverage expert knowledge and convert it into actionable plans. And that's what these researchers also did. They asked a lot of questions about what would happen in software development by the year 2040 and eventually identified 5 points on which the experts more or less agreed. The first one is that they all agree that by 2040 corners will be cut in AI safety. But
corners will be cut.
Interestingly enough, they think it's not because of competition between companies, but because of competition between nations. In particular,
okay, so there'll be regulations put in place, but nation states will ignore all that stuff and go for broke. Okay, got it.
Name the United States and China. The results are summarized in this chart where blue.
Wow, so they all agree that so cutting corners is gonna take the wheels off this thing.
Means agreement, orange disagreement, and white means no opinion. 2 of the experts said that by 2040 AI will cause events with at least 1 million deaths. That's a megadeath. Yes, megadeath is actually.
So 2 people think it's 2 people think it's going to be megadeaths. More than 1 million people dead due to. They said AI, but it's not really AI. Let's be.
Unit, not just the name of a heavy metal band. You can also see that several experts disagree, but this is partly because they think it'll only be a few thousand deaths.
Only be a few thousand. Oh, okay.
Another thing on which the experts are.
Okay, so what's concerning here is what's known as the Eliza effect. When people rely on this technology, they impose human qualities, either anthropologically with the throwing of the stones or the bones. Like they want to put the human will, what we want to see, onto this natural thing. So this is a very natural, very innate quality in humans that we want to be able to see the future. And some of the tools we have, we can predict certain types of categories of things we're pretty good at predicting, but other ones are just off the table. But we want to anthropomorphize every goddamn thing we don't understand. We want to put human qualities into things we don't understand. And it's so easy to simulate it with text because we have so much written information. We think that that's because so far all the information that's been written up until the computers came along was written by humans, for humans. But now this computer can simulate it, right? So what if the problem is it's not the machines and this AI and the models and the technology and stuff. It's that people believe it. That's the problem. They think it's fucking real. That is the issue. That is the problem. That is the issue.
Dr. Lexus will be with you shortly.
It's a weird misprint.
Hey, Azang essay.
Yeah, right.
This is doctor.
Well, not so good. You know, I don't really know what's going on, but I'm seeing things. I think it might be because of these drugs the Army put me on. But if
you haven't seen IDIOCRACY yet, it's required to watch to understand what the hell I'm talking about.
you could just get me well enough to get back to base.
Right. Kick ass. Well, don't want to sound like a dick or nothing, but it says on your chart that you're fucked up. You talk like a fag, and your shit's all retarded. What I do is just like you know, you know what I mean? Like,
No, I'm serious here.
don't worry, Scro. Now there are plenty of tards out there living really kick-ass lives. My first wife was tarded. She's a pilot now.
I need for you to be serious for a second here, okay? I need help.
There's that fag talk we talked about.
Yeah, so this is the future that we'll have if we keep believing everything that these computers spit out, because it's not just computers, right? There's actually a human being who wrote the program to do this in a certain thing. So there's a certain context. It seems like a real human. Well, now this has been exposed. People believe these things are intelligent, and that is the real danger. So let's listen in some more.
All agree is that by 2040, quantum computing will only just be used. Again, you can see that some of them disagree, but in the text it's explained that they disagree by degree. In that one could say quantum computing is already being used today. It just has no commercial relevance, and that's not going to.
It's a very narrow case of use case. It's still useful, but not as much as the digital massive quantities of data crunching. That stuff's the thing that's you need
to change by 2040. The next point of agreement is that almost all of them are worried that AI will make it increasingly hard.
Right. This is the Eliza effect. Difficulty distinguishing truth from fiction. As these models become more and more sophisticated, it's going to become more and more difficult. It already is for regular people to distinguish reality from fiction. And because they don't, like the younger generation, Gen Z, has been raised on these iPads and helicopter parenting and all that bullshit, where they're not able to interact with the real world, they are absolutely, totally naked, open to this attack vector here, and Matrix future, Idiocracy for sure. So I wanted to show that you can't distinguish accidents from incidents. So because there's doctors signing prescriptions based on computer outputs and have no idea what they're talking about at all, that's going to become a major problem for humanity, honestly. And just to show that there's constant work in this area to actually simulate humans. So we don't even need actors at all, or motion capture or anything. Everyone, just somebody with a laptop can simulate crowds doing random things, and it will look indistinguishable from reality. So this is a public paper. This just came out. This is published just not recently. Yeah, this thing was in my so it was really funny. So 2 minutes papers. They show the right here. They show the progress of computer graphics, and it's been astounding what they're able to do. And most people have no idea this is actually going on. And this is the public stuff, right? This is not the private stuff that they only use under certain conditions. Mostly against other state actors, so propaganda in other states. They're going to start using it, or they have probably already started using it in the United States. But since Obama took away the law against using propaganda in the United States, so this is right now the public paper and it's going to get a lot of attention. So this is going to be even more work is going to be done in this area. and soon it will be indistinguishable. But this is the public stuff.
Wow, I can't believe it. This new AI can look at a real tennis player and put them in a computer game where we can play with them. This looks absolutely amazing. And doing this the hard way has so far been absolutely impossible. But what about the easy way? Exciting as this may seem, perhaps there is nothing new here. You see, we can already do something like this through motion capture. What is that? Well, you put a human in a studio, attach these little balls to them, and record their motion. Then transfer this motion to a virtual character. However, this paper has an incredible twist. And that twist is that this can do the same, but without the balls. No cameras, gyroscopes, or any additional machinery is required. Just the raw video feed, and the learning happens from that. That sounds incredible. But how? Dear fellow scholars, this is 2-minute papers with Dr. Károly Zsolnai Fehér. Well, there are previous works that try to do something similar, but the precision of these motions was almost never satisfactory, especially for tennis, where almost hitting a ball is not nearly good enough. And I am very proud to say that all 3 of these papers have been showcased here on 2-minute papers before. But this new technique, this one, can do it even better. First, we give it the raw video feed of the players, and then it will try to estimate their motion. So, are we done? Well, unfortunately, not. Not even close. Look, the motion is still way...
Yeah, so this is like the original first generation of this stuff, and it gets so much better.
too jerky and imprecise to be used in practice. It is also full of artifacts. So, what now? Well, now comes the magic. Here, a computer simulation is built that tries to reproduce this motion, but this one cannot be jerky because it is within a video game where the laws of physics are intact. In reality, people don't move like that. And with this simulation, this is looking so much better. From now on, we can take a target position that we start from and simulate many motion types.
Right, so they can target it here. So the thing is completely simulated, and they're using the moves of an actual player that you've done captured video frames and trained up this simulate SI. I'm not gonna say II. It's an SI that will predict all these moves, and then they're like smoothing it and doing other kinds of other algorithms on top of it that allow it to look like super realistic and constraining it to the physics of a video game. And there's not much of a leap between video games and actually doing video footage. So
then we grab a controller and perform these serves, topspin, backspin hits, slices, you name it, and they look absolutely incredible. Yes, I hear you asking, Károly, are you sure that this is a simulation? Well, if you look here is the proof. Yes, simulations today are getting so advanced that we need to see these 3D models to be absolutely sure that this is indeed a computer simulation.
You see a little bit of close light,
and it gets better. Here is the interesting part. This is not just a copying machine, although just copying the motion from these videos would also be quite a feat given the occlusions and tiny but super important wrist motions that are really hard to see from the footage. But with this system, we can even highlight a region where we would like to hit the ball, and the motions will be synthesized accordingly. We can run the same simulation with a number of different target locations, and all of the synthesized motions will be believable and accurate. Loving it! Or we can also ask the player to hit the ball from the same point from different starting positions. And it will work not only for the easier cases, but in more difficult scenarios too, where you can barely catch that ball. So good! And now, hold on to your papers, fellow scholars, because it can not only do all this, but it can even learn the individual style of famous tennis players. Right and left-handed players work too, and it can simulate a one- or two-handed backhand shot depending on the style of the player at hand. And if that is possible at all, it gets even better. If we can simulate one virtual human, why not make a game by simulating 2 playing against each other? I have to say, if I look closely, I can still see that this is a simulation, but if you squint a little, it's easy to think that this is real footage. That is an incredible achievement, both in the graphics and in the animation department. Bravo! And styles are particularly interesting here because if it would have only one style, 2 players playing the same style would not look nearly as interesting as this footage with one left and
so they're not spending a lot of time on these models, of course. These are just like they're not trying to showcase how realistic these models and the rendering goes. It's the motion and how they're generating the stuff from frames and then telling the players just to react to the ball and put it here and put it there and not having to animate all the keyframes or capture or any of that stuff. Amazing.
One right-handed player. What I particularly like is that there is barely any foot sliding, a problem that you see in almost every single paper in this area. They usually compete on how little foot sliding there is. No foot sliding at all is almost unheard of. Wow! Also, almost none of the jitters from the original motions are there in this footage. The foot sliding here is less than an inch, and the jitter is almost non-existent. All gone. And if we remove just one small part of this new proposed system, things can go really bad. For instance, if the wrist motions are captured with just a bit of inaccuracy, the hits will go completely wrong. You have to get everything nearly perfectly for this to work, and the scientists absolutely nailed it. So, how many hundreds of hours did the AI have to sift through to learn all this? Well, it was not in the order of hundreds of hours, but get this, only 4.5 hours of video footage. Goodness.
Amazing. 4.5 hours of just to fit 4 hours of watching someone. This thing can totally simulate Alex. And so well, and they'll be tuning it up so that foot sliding thing won't be an issue and there won't be any more jitter. But oh wow.
I don't even know what to say. When using the full system, the hit rates can reach up to 100%, which sounds almost impossible to me. They absolutely knocked this out of the court with this paper, and thus it was published at SIGGRAPH, perhaps the most prestigious conference in computer graphics. In my view, it is like winning the Olympic gold medal of computer graphics research, and sure. I have to say, it is very well deserved. Bravo! This might be the future of video games. Experiment tracking
or simulated humans. So I'll leave clips to all that kind of stuff in the show notes. But the biggest thing is that this thing just difficulty distinguishing truth from fiction, cannot distinguish accidents from incidents, and systems beyond human understanding. I mean, and more accidents due to complexity. Because of the ELIZA effect, because people are believing these machines are real.
The good thing about the American dream is that you can just go to sleep and try it all again the next night.
Good night.